Hi, healthy stars. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. It's so good to have you back. If you're new here, you're warmly welcome. My name is Dr. Esther Oyewole. I'm a veterinary doctor and I work as a public health professional with deep-seated interest in One Health and antimicrobial resistance. Today, we're going to be discussing a very interesting topic, which is antimicrobial resistance gradually becoming a looming pandemic. Antimicrobial resistance basically means the ineffectiveness of antimicrobial drugs to treatment of disease infections, bacterial infections, viral or fungal infections. When the drugs administered are no longer effective in treating the condition they are administered for. This is what we call antimicrobial resistance, and it has gradually become a threat, a public health threat, global threat, literally, and ensuring that mitigation measures are put in place to tackle this, global One Health threat is very important, and that is why this video is necessary. As a public health professional, my job here is to educate you, bridge the gap between the academics and research to the average populace. Not everyone has information as to what these drugs that they take or that they use is doing to their health. Not everyone has that information. You just walk into the clinic, walk into the pharmacy, and you just go buy some drugs and you just use, right? Antimicrobial resistance has gradually become a looming pandemic because of the misuse and overuse of the antimicrobial drugs, and this is why this video is very important. Antimicrobial resistance has gradually become a looming pandemic, and the earlier we begin to tackle it, the better for us. There are three major stakeholders that are involved in tackling antimicrobial resistance. We have the animal health practitioners, the human health practitioners, and the environmental health practitioners. With these three stakeholders coming together in a One Health approach, trust me, we will be able to tackle this rising One Health challenge. Today, I'm going to be talking about the animal health area. As a veterinary doctor, I have come to see and realize that the amount of antibiotics that are given to livestock animals is increasing on a daily basis. Research even records that animals are beginning to take in high-level antibiotics are administered to animals. I had my final year project in veterinary public health, and I worked on antimicrobial resistance, to Escherichia coli in cattle, and to discover that third generation antibiotics, the cephalosporins, third generation cephalosporins were resistant. The bacterial E. coli was resistant to third generation antibiotics. It's quite alarming, and this is because most of these drugs administered to the animals are not prescription based. Many farmers just discover that the animals are having diarrhea, or they're having this, they see a symptom of an illness, and they just go ahead to administer a drug without proper medical advice, without proper medical practitioner coming in to look into what is going on. And this is one of the major reasons that antimicrobial resistance is increasing in animals. And another thing, let me shock you. Now we are even getting to the more, scary and juicy part, which is that resistant bacterial organisms in animals are now being transmitted to humans that consume them. You didn't hear that? I attended a One Health seminar last week, and one of the speakers talked about the researches that they have been, doing, and how that they discovered the resistant strain of bacterial organisms in an animal in humans that consumed, the animal from that farm. And this is so alarming. This is so life-threatening, and that is why proper mitigation measures has to be put in place to ensure that this doesn't become a pandemic. The World Health Organization has recorded that by 2050, 10 million deaths would be recorded as a result of antimicrobial resistance in humans. And we are not going to get there. No, we are not going to get there. That is why I am creating an awareness. That is why this channel is here. The channel is here to educate you on things to do as a person, as an average person that probably does not have privy to some of the information from researchers. My job is to bridge the gap, and that is why we are here. How can we curb this rising One Health challenge? Number one is to ensure that prescription-based treatments are administered to our animals. This is for this is for farmers, ensuring that you don't just walk into the pharmacy and just buy a tablet and then just administer without getting prescription, without getting medical consent from your veterinary doctor. In short, every farm should have a veterinary doctor that comes to oversee, that comes to check the farm from time to time. This is also where the pharmacists step in. I believe that it's quite difficult in Nigeria, but I believe that it's possible to make sure that no person, no individual buys any tablet from a pharmacy without bringing a prescription note from the doctor that prescribed it to them. If we can be very strict and stringent on this matter, I assure us that we would be able to curb this rising One Health challenge, ensuring that you walk into a pharmacy with your prescription from your doctor, either a veterinary doctor for those that have animals or a human doctor for those that want to treat themselves. Ensuring that you have a prescription-based treatment from a medical doctor or a veterinary doctor is very important. If this policy can be legislated and penalties put in place for those that break this law, trust me, in no time we will be able to bring a stop to this rising One Health challenge, which is antimicrobial resistance. Another way we can bring a stop to this rising One Health challenge is to use alternative to antimicrobial drugs. Using therapies, using probiotics, using alternatives. Everything is not antibiotics. Everything is not antibiotics. There are some treatments that can be done through therapy, through use of probiotics and some other, drug type or some other measures that would not involve using antibiotics. If we can begin to, and I think a lot of research is going in that direction, the use of probiotics, the use of therapies, the use of so many other measures that are alternatives to the use of antibiotics. And lastly, ensuring biosecurity in your farm. Biosecurity is a very important measure to put in place to avoid unnecessary use of antibiotics. If your biosecurity measures are intact, if your managemental measures are intact, if the hygiene of your farm is intact, it would reduce the bacterial growth, the fungal growth. So these are the three major measures that I believe that as for farmers in the animal industry, how you can help us to ensure that we bring a stop to antimicrobial resistance. Number one, I mentioned, is ensuring that prescription-based treatment are given to your animals. That is, you get medical advice before going ahead to buy any drug. Number two is to ensure that we use alternatives to antibiotics, therapies, probiotics, and other measures that you can avoid the use of antibiotics. Number three is is to ensure that your biosecurity measures is top notch. Your biosecurity measures are intact, managemental measures 100%, your hygiene and sanitary in your farm is 100%. Trust me, with this you will have low need to treat bacterial infection and all of those things. So I've mentioned these 3 basic things for majorly farmers and can also apply to pet owners. Recently attended to a client who brought a dog with urinary tract infection, and I asked him what are the things he has done. Has he taken the animal to a clinic or a lab or something? He was like, oh no, he has not done any of that, but he has administered, he did some self-medication and he had administered some drugs to the animals himself. I'm like, oh wow, are you a veterinary doctor? He said no. Are you an animal health personnel? He said no. And why did you administer? Well, that is what I always do. And he started mentioning different things, and okay, what are the drugs you administered? He said he gave gentamicin, he gave about 2 or 3 different antibiotics, which are broad spectrum antibiotics. And I was like, what informed your giving these antibiotics? He couldn't say anything. At that point, I just knew that I could not proceed further in treatment. I needed to run a test, and I referred him to a laboratory, to run a test and let's know the exact bacterial organism that is causing this. Oh, we know that Klebsiella, we know that E. coli causes UTI and all of that, but what if there are other bacterial organisms that are causing this? That's one. And number 2, what if you're using the wrong antibiotics? We have broad spectrum antibiotics, we have narrow spectrum antibiotics. So there are so many things that could inform your dog not getting healed even after you've used thousands and tons of antibiotics. And that is why prescription-based treatment is very important for your animals. Do not self-medicate. We are going to talk about the human part next week. The preventive measures are similar, but we will still talk about it. There are some slight differences, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Share it with your friends, your farmer friends, your dog owners, your pet owners. Share it with them and let them see that those self-medications they are doing is causing harm to their animals and is even affecting the global health in general, especially livestock animals. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope you learned 1 or 2 things. We're going to continue the next one on the human health approach, and you don't want to miss it. Kindly subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell so you can get notified when new videos drops. Thank you and have a wonderful time. Bye.